We grow up on stories that teach us love is all we need, that if you find the right person, everything just works. But the brutal truth about relationships, the one no one really wants to tell you, is that love alone isn't enough. Love is the spark, not the fire. Relationships require work, real, daily work. They ask for patience when you're tired, kindness when you're frustrated, and loyalty when life tempts you to quit. If you're not willing to show up every single day, even on the boring days, even on the hard days, the relationship will fall apart no matter how strong the feelings once were. There's this myth that compatibility means easy. It doesn't. It just means you've got a better chance at fighting the right battles. Even with someone who seems like your perfect match, you will struggle, you will argue, you will annoy each other. But the measure of a relationship isn't how few problems you have, it's how you handle them together. It's not finding someone who completes your sentences, it's finding someone who stays with you even when the conversation gets hard. You will hurt each other. It's not a possibility, it's a certainty. If you're close enough to love someone, you're close enough to wound them. And when that happens, the important question isn't, did you hurt me? But, are you willing to heal this with me? Strong relationships are not built on avoiding pain, they are built on repairing it. Another truth you need to hear. Your partner cannot complete you. No matter how much they love you, they cannot heal your childhood wounds. They cannot fix your insecurities. They cannot carry the weight of your unfulfilled dreams. A relationship is two whole people choosing to walk through life together. If you show up half-formed, half-loving yourself, expecting someone else to fill the gap, you're building a house on a cracked foundation. Communication isn't just about talking more. It's about being brave enough to be real, to say the uncomfortable thing, to hear the uncomfortable thing. It's about facing the fear that you might lose them and saying it anyway. Because if you can't tell the truth to the person you love, who exactly are you building this life with? And maybe the hardest truth of all, there's no settling down moment when everything is perfect. There's only a lifetime of change, a lifetime of growth, a lifetime of sometimes pulling each other forward and sometimes just holding each other while life storms around you. Real relationships aren't a destination. They are a commitment to grow, to stumble, to fall, and to rise again and again. Together, it's not easy, it's not simple, it's not a fairy tale, but it's real. And that makes it worth everything. We live in a world where love is romanticized beyond recognition. We are told that if you just love someone enough, everything else will fall into place. That love will magically fix misunderstandings, heal insecurities, erase flaws. But the brutal truth is, love is not enough, not even close. Love is only the beginning. What keeps a relationship alive, what makes it grow stronger over time, is the work you're willing to put into it long after the first feelings fade. Anyone can fall in love. That's the easy part. Falling in love is chemical, biological. It's the rush of dopamine, the excitement of newness, the thrill of being seen and wanted. It's easy to be kind when everything feels exciting. It's easy to be generous when your heart is on fire. But what happens when life gets real? What happens when you're stressed, tired, anxious, when bills pile up, careers demand attention, health issues arise, or simply when the novelty wears off? That's where the real relationship begins. That's where the real work starts. Loving someone means choosing them every day, even when it's inconvenient. It means showing up when it would be easier to walk away. It means being patient when they're not at their best. It means having hard conversations you don't want to have, staying when it would feel easier to leave, listening when you're frustrated, forgiving when you're hurt. Love feels good, but work feels hard. And yet without the work, love cannot survive. So many people think that when a relationship gets difficult, it must mean something's wrong. But difficulty isn't a sign that something is broken. It's a sign that something real is being built. No strong relationship in the world was ever forged in comfort and ease. It's built in the moments of disagreement, in the late night conversations where you both have to decide, are we going to work through this or are we going to give up? And every time you choose to work through it, you lay another brick on the foundation of something lasting. It's about the small, unglamorous things, apologizing first, even when you feel justified, admitting you're wrong, even when your pride is screaming not to. Being there when they need you, even when it costs you something. Loving someone when they're not particularly lovable. Supporting their dreams, even when it scares you. Building a relationship isn't about grand gestures. It's about the small, consistent actions over time. It's about loyalty when it's tested, kindness when it's undeserved, effort when it feels exhausting. And here's the harsh reality. If you're not willing to put in the work, someone else will. Relationships don't die because of big betrayals most of the time. They die because of 1,000 tiny moments where one or both people stopped trying. Stopped showing up, stopped doing the small things that say, you matter to me, I choose you. The truth is, love alone will never make you stay. Love alone will never make you listen when you're angry, apologize when you're hurt, or forgive when you've been wounded. Only the commitment to the work will do that. Only the daily choice to love, not the feeling of love, but the action of love, will carry a relationship through the storms that inevitably come. You can feel deeply for someone and still lose them if you're not willing to fight for the connection every day. Love gets you to the starting line, but work is what carries you across the finish line and every single mile in between. If you want something real, something lasting, something extraordinary, you have to be willing to do what's uncomfortable, what's tedious, what's difficult, because in the end, it's not love that keeps a relationship alive. It's the work. And it's worth every ounce of effort. We often believe that if we meet the right person, everything will just flow. We think that compatibility means effortless conversations, endless laughter, seamless understanding. We think the right relationship will be easy. But the brutal truth is, compatibility doesn't mean easy. Compatibility means you're aligned in values, in vision, maybe even in personality. But it doesn't mean you'll never fight. It doesn't mean you'll never misunderstand each other. It doesn't mean you'll wake up every day feeling completely in sync. Even when two people are a great match, real life will still happen to them. Compatibility isn't the absence of conflict. It's the ability to navigate conflict when it shows up. It's not about finding someone who never challenges you or who always agrees with you. It's about finding someone who, even when they disagree with you, does it with respect. Someone who, even when they're hurt, still cares enough to fight for the relationship, not against it. Compatibility means you see the world in ways that fit together, not perfectly, but purposefully, and it still takes work. It still demands patience, empathy, and resilience. There is no such thing as a relationship without friction. Two people, no matter how well matched, come from different worlds, different experiences, different wounds, different ways of communicating, different ways of processing love and fear. You are not building a life with a mirror image of yourself. You're building a life with another human being who carries their own story, their own battles, their own dreams. Compatibility gives you a better starting point, but it does not exempt you from the real work of understanding each other on the deepest levels. In fact, sometimes the couples who are most compatible can take each other for granted because when it's easy in the beginning, they assume it will always be easy. They get blindsided when life throws challenges their way, a job loss, an illness, a move, a death in the family, and suddenly the relationship requires a depth of communication and compassion they never had to practice before. Compatibility might make it easier to stand together, but it doesn't automatically teach you how to weather the storms. That's something you have to learn side by side. What truly defines a strong relationship isn't the absence of problems, but how two people handle problems together. It's whether they fight to understand each other rather than fight to win. It's whether they prioritize the relationship over their pride. It's whether they lean in when things get messy rather than pulling away. Compatible partners don't stay together because life is easy. They stay together because they keep choosing each other through the hard parts. They stay because they know that growth often feels like discomfort, and that the right relationship will sometimes require you to grow in ways you never planned for. It's easy to love someone when everything's good, when you're laughing at the same jokes, dreaming the same dreams, moving through life at the same pace. But the test of any relationship is how you love them when it's not easy, when they're hurting in ways you don't understand, when you're tired and frustrated, when you're scared and unsure. Compatibility doesn't shield you from those moments. It just gives you a stronger foundation to stand on when those moments come. Real love isn't about finding someone who makes everything effortless. It's about finding someone worth doing the hard things with. Someone who, even when things get complicated, still looks at you and says, I'm not going anywhere. Someone who stays at the table when the conversation gets tough. Someone who fights for understanding, even when it would be easier to just walk away. Compatibility is a gift. It's the starting line, not the finish line. It makes the journey possible, but it doesn't make the journey painless. You still have to show up. You still have to do the work. You still have to choose each other every single day, especially on the days when it doesn't feel easy, because the best relationships are not the ones that never struggle. They are the ones that never stop trying. One of the most difficult truths about relationships is that you will hurt each other. It doesn't matter how well you communicate or how deeply you love each other. If you are close enough to truly love someone, you are close enough to wound them. No matter how much you care, at some point your words will cut deeper than you intended. Your actions will speak louder than your love. Your silence will say things that you didn't mean to communicate. And the person you love, the person you trust, will hurt you too. It's inevitable. This is not a warning, it's a fact. The closer we get to someone, the more they become a mirror for our own fears, insecurities, and past pains. We are all walking around with emotional scars. And when we open ourselves up to someone, we give them the power to trigger those scars. We give them the ability to press on places we never fully healed. That's part of the price of love. That's part of the risk we take when we choose to open ourselves up to another human being. And yet, so many people live in fear of being hurt, thinking that if they pick the right person, if they communicate enough, if they love hard enough, they can somehow avoid the pain. The truth is, trying to avoid hurting each other will only create distance. Avoiding hard conversations, suppressing feelings, ignoring the things that bother us in the name of keeping the peace will only build walls. Those walls will make it harder to repair the hurt when it inevitably comes. Because pain in relationships isn't about the initial wound. It's about the healing, the forgiveness, the coming together after the storm. The beauty of a strong relationship is not in the absence of pain, but in the ability to repair the hurt. The couples who last are not the ones who never hurt each other. They're the ones who figure out how to come back together after they do. They are the ones who make the hard choice to not just forgive, but to understand. They don't walk away when it's painful. They sit in the discomfort. They face the awkwardness, and they fight to heal together, not apart. But here's the thing. Healing isn't automatic. It requires intentionality. It requires vulnerability. It requires both people choosing to take responsibility for their actions, even when they are justified in their hurt. It's easy to play the victim in an argument. It's easy to blame the other person when things go wrong. But a healthy relationship doesn't thrive on blame. It thrives on both people owning their part of the pain, acknowledging the role they played in causing it, and deciding to do better. The pain in a relationship isn't just about what's said in the heat of the moment or the small mistakes made on a bad day. It's about the deeper hurts that get carried from past experiences, past relationships, past disappointments, past trauma. We all bring our emotional baggage into a relationship, and sometimes that baggage gets dropped in the wrong place. That person you love may unknowingly trigger your childhood wounds, and you might do the same to them. But just because you hurt each other doesn't mean you're incompatible. It means you're human. And it means there's an opportunity for growth. The challenge is not avoiding the hurt. It's how you handle it when it happens. Will you stay in the relationship and face the difficult conversations? Will you sit with the discomfort, listen with empathy, and open your heart to healing? Or will you let the hurt fester? Let it build walls that make it harder to come back together? Will you choose forgiveness or choose to carry that pain for the rest of the relationship? The truth is, the deepest relationships are built through the moments of hurt, not around them. They are built when two people decide that despite the pain, despite the scars, they are still going to choose each other. Every day. They decide that love doesn't mean perfection. It means the willingness to show up, to admit mistakes, to forgive, and to grow together. We all hurt each other. It's part of the human experience, but it's not the hurt that defines a relationship. It's how we repair it, how we rebuild, and how we choose to love in the aftermath that determines whether the relationship will last. Love, real love, is not about avoiding the hurt. It's about showing up with open arms, ready to heal, ready to love again, no matter how many times you've been hurt. There's a lie we tell ourselves in relationships. We believe that if we find the right person, they'll complete us, that they'll fill the gaps in our lives, heal our wounds, and make us whole. It's a comforting thought because it means we don't have to do the hard work of growth and self-awareness. We can just wait for someone to show up, sweep us off our feet, and suddenly all our insecurities, fears, and past hurts will vanish. But here's the truth. No one, not even the person you love the most, can complete you. If you're expecting your partner to fix you, to heal your deepest wounds, to fulfill every need you have, you're setting yourself up for disappointment. That's not a burden they can bear. When we enter relationships with the expectation that someone will complete us, we create an unhealthy dynamic, one where we rely on another person to make us feel whole, to fill a void that only we can fill. The truth is, you must first be whole before you can truly love someone else. You must first be willing to do the work on yourself, to heal, to grow, to become the person you want to be, and only then can you bring your best self into a relationship. A relationship is about two people choosing to come together, not to fix each other, but to support each other in the journey of life. When you rely on someone else to complete you, you create an imbalance. You put the weight of your happiness, your fulfillment, and your emotional well-being onto their shoulders. No one can carry that weight. Not your partner, not your family, not your friends. It's simply too much to ask of another person. Think about it. If you are constantly waiting for someone else to fill the gaps in your life, to make you feel like you matter, to give you the validation you seek, you are giving away your power. You are letting someone else define your sense of self-worth. And when they inevitably fall short, as they will, you will feel empty, rejected, and lost. No relationship, no matter how perfect, can fill that void if you don't first fill it yourself. The idea that someone else will complete you comes from a place of emotional dependency. But love should never be about dependency. True love is built on mutual respect, trust, and independence. It's about two people coming together because they choose each other, not because they need each other to survive emotionally. A healthy relationship is where both partners are whole individuals who bring their strengths, their vulnerabilities, and their passions to the table. It's not about finding someone who makes up for what you lack. It's about finding someone who complements you, who enhances your life, who challenges you to be better, and who stands by your side while you do the same for them. When you learn to love yourself first, when you do the hard work of healing, of understanding your own worth, of standing tall in your own power, you enter relationships from a place of strength, not need. You bring your best self to the table. And when two strong, independent people come together, they create a bond that's not based on need, but on love, on choice, on mutual respect. You will still have moments of vulnerability, of need, but these moments will be shared, not because you're expecting the other person to fix you, but because you trust them enough to let them in. No one should have to carry the responsibility of completing another person. You have to complete yourself. And when you do, the right person will show up not to fix you, but to stand beside you, to encourage you, to love you as you continue your own growth. The right person won't complete you. They'll see you for who you truly are, and they'll love you for it. They'll challenge you to be the best version of yourself, and they'll walk with you on that journey. But the work of completing yourself, that's a task only you can do. The sooner you accept this, the sooner you can experience a relationship that isn't based on dependency, but on the freedom that comes from knowing who you are and being secure in that knowledge. Your partner is there to add to your life, not to define it. You are whole, you are enough. You always have been. We often think of communication as talking. We think it's about finding the right words, expressing ourselves clearly, or making sure we say everything we want to say. But the real truth about communication is this: it's not about talking. It's about courage. It's about being brave enough to say the things that are uncomfortable, the things that might make you vulnerable, the things that might create conflict. True communication isn't about making yourself heard. It's about having the courage to listen and to speak in a way that invites understanding, not just agreement. Communication is a two-way street, but in today's world, it feels like most of us are racing down one side of it, talking, without ever really listening. Others are so eager to be heard that we forget the most important part of communication, understanding. We talk at each other, not with each other. We speak in ways that are designed to win the argument, not to find a solution. And in doing so, we miss the point. Communication isn't about being right. It's about being heard. And it's about hearing the other person, even when what they say is hard to hear. It takes courage to say what's truly on your mind, especially when it challenges the other person or when it opens up an uncomfortable space between you. How many times have you held back a thought, a feeling, or a truth because you were afraid of the conflict it might cause? How many times have you let silence stretch between you and someone you care about simply because you didn't want to rock the boat, didn't want to face the discomfort of an honest conversation? But here's the reality. Silence doesn't protect us. It only breeds distance. It makes the unspoken issues fester and grow until they become so big that they're impossible to address. True communication requires vulnerability. It requires the courage to say, I don't know, when you don't know the answer. It requires the courage to apologize, even when you're not sure if the other person will accept it. It requires the courage to admit your fears, your weaknesses, and your mistakes. It means sharing your heart, even when you're afraid that the other person might not understand, might not respond the way you hope, or might even hurt you in return. It's scary, it's uncomfortable, but it's also the only way to create real connection. The best relationships, whether personal or professional, are built on the foundation of open, honest communication. And the hardest part of that foundation is laying the first brick. Having the courage to say what's really going on, to speak the truth, no matter how difficult it may be. It's so easy to keep things to ourselves, to bury our feelings, to hide behind the fear of vulnerability. But doing so is like building a house without a foundation. The walls might stand for a while, but eventually they will crumble. Real relationships are built on the courage to show up with your whole self, to speak with honesty and to listen with empathy. We often think of communication as something we do to get our needs met, to make ourselves understood. But the real power of communication is not in getting your message across. It's in connecting with the other person in a way that creates understanding, trust, and respect. Communication isn't just about expressing your thoughts. It's about being willing to hear another person's thoughts, even when they're different from your own. It's about respecting their perspective, even when it doesn't align with yours. It's about choosing to listen, to empathize, and to respond with kindness, even when you're frustrated, hurt, or scared. So many times we hold back in our relationships because we fear the consequences of speaking our truth. We fear that it might change the dynamic, that it might cause conflict, or that it might hurt the other person. But the real cost of not speaking up, of not communicating with courage, is far greater. It's the cost of losing connection. It's the cost of living in a world where you're not truly known, not truly understood. And in the long run, that's a much higher price to pay. The truth is, communication isn't about talking. It's about the courage to show up authentically, to say what needs to be said, and to listen with an open heart. It's about being brave enough to face the discomfort that comes with honest conversations, knowing that on the other side there's a deeper connection waiting for you. It's about having the courage to speak your truth and the courage to hear someone else's truth, even when it's not easy. Because in the end, the most meaningful conversations are the ones that are the hardest to have. And those are the conversations that build the strongest relationships. There's a narrative we've all heard, the idea that relationships are about settling down. It's the notion that at some point we stop moving, stop growing, and just find a place to park. It suggests that the goal of a relationship is to find stability, to stop seeking new experiences, to stop exploring the world, and to simply settle into a life of routine and comfort. But here's the truth. There's no such thing as settling down. What we're really doing in relationships is growing together, evolving together, and constantly reimagining what the future can look like, not just as individuals, but as a team. When we think of settling down, we think of the end of the road, the moment when things should stop shifting, when everything becomes predictable, when we can finally relax and stop striving. But the reality is that true relationships are never static. They're living, breathing things. They're dynamic and always changing, growing, and shifting. To settle down is to misunderstand the nature of love and partnership. Relationships aren't about reaching a final destination. They are about constantly evolving as individuals and as a couple. Real connection is built on growth, not just finding someone to stand still with, but finding someone to build with. When you choose to be in a relationship, you choose to grow, both together and separately. Your partner should be someone who challenges you, encourages you, and makes you better. It's not someone who simply holds you in place, but someone who pushes you forward. Relationships are not about keeping things easy and comfortable. They are about growing through the challenges, learning together, and building something greater than what either person could achieve alone. Growth in relationships doesn't always come in the form of new experiences or adventures, although those are important too. Sometimes growth is found in the tough moments. It's in the vulnerability shared when you face a difficult situation. It's in the disagreements that challenge your beliefs, forcing you to question your assumptions and learn to communicate better. Growth happens when you make the choice to confront the uncomfortable parts of yourself and your relationship, to embrace the discomfort of change, and to find strength in those moments of transition. Think about the moments in your life that have shaped you the most. The moments when you learned something new about yourself, when you had to face a fear or overcome an obstacle. Those moments are the ones that define who you are. And the same is true in relationships. But the moments when you are challenged, when you have to adapt, when you have to grow, those are the moments that shape the relationship. If you're not growing, you're stagnating. And stagnation over time can lead to resentment, to complacency, to disconnection. It's only by pushing through challenges together that a relationship stays strong, vital, and alive. And let's not forget that growth in a relationship is not always linear. There will be ups and downs. There will be periods of ease where everything seems to click into place, and there will be periods of strain where it feels like you're moving through thick mud. But these moments, both the smooth and the difficult, are part of the shared experience of growing together. They are part of what it means to build a life with someone. It's about finding ways to weather the storms together, to support each other through change, and to emerge from those challenges stronger and more connected. We often hear people talk about settling down as though it's the end of the adventure. But what if it's actually the beginning? What if the real adventure in a relationship is in the constant journey of growth, in the discovery of each other's strengths and weaknesses, dreams and fears, in the shared pursuit of personal and mutual growth? Relationships aren't about settling into complacency. They are about constantly evolving, changing, and deepening your understanding of each other. They are about creating something together, a life, a family, a future, that reflects both who you are now and who you are becoming. There is no finish line in love. There's no point where you can say, I've done enough. I've reached the end. The journey continues day by day as you grow and learn and change together. Love is not about finding someone to stop with. It's about finding someone to keep going with. It's about embracing the uncertainty of the future and making the decision to face it together, to grow through it together, to learn and adapt together every step of the way. So let's stop thinking of relationships as a place to settle down. Instead, let's think of them as a place to grow together. Because when two people are committed to growing together, there's no limit to what they can create, achieve, and experience. Love isn't about reaching a destination. It's about sharing the journey. And as long as you continue to evolve, to grow, and to build together, the adventure will never end.